From the snow-covered peaks in Nepal to the mystical jungles of Peru to the desert sands of Cairo and snake-infested tombs deep beneath an ancient city. Rare Collectibles TV has been long searching for lost treasures.
The things I do to find nice coins.
Rare treasures that have been hidden away in sealed tombs for thousands of years. These riches have been long forgotten, only to resurface today. A king's fortune in rare coins at prices not seen since King Tut ruled the lands. An incredible deal that came to be known as the Hunt for the Holy Grail, Episode 2.
Welcome, my fellow collectors, to another edition, another episode in the Hunt for the Holy Grail. The Proof 69 Ultra Cameo of a 1972 or earlier vintage, because this is when these coins in 69 Ultra Cameo, graded by NGC, are extremely rare. And that is the highest grade any proof coin in Ultra Cameo has ever received from NGC. Now, I've been writing about this for many years. And in fact, if you go to my latest edition of the Franklin and Kennedy Guide, I have here on page 206, 1977 to 1989, the modern era in its infancy. So I make a really clear distinction. This 1977 was the beginning of the modern era because that's when they had perfected new technologies as far as preparing the cameo dies using a sandblasting technology and chrome plating the dies to create a really intense, long-lasting cameo effect that they didn't have in 1972 and earlier. And that's what makes these 1972 and earlier proofs so rare, because back then they were preparing proof dies basically the same way they'd been preparing them back in the 1800s. They would dip these dies in a 5% bath of nitric acid, 95% alcohol to create this cameo effect, and that acid-etched cameo effect was very delicate. They would then take the die and buff it on the buffing wheel, and that would buff the fields to a mirror-like finish. And then they would put the dies in place, and the earliest strikes would have this cameo contrast, this acid-etched cameo contrast transferred to the coin blank because the device was recessed. It wouldn't receive the buffing treatment. It would retain that acid-etched cameo effect. But these acid-etched cameo dies were really delicate, and they wore really, really quickly. So very few coins would be struck with ultra cameo contrast on obverse and reverse, and then to get it in proof 69 on top of it. Again, I have to open every presentation on this with these facts because I'm assuming that we get a lot of new clients every week, every episode. Here's a 1978 set. This is the early years of the modern era. If you bought a 1978 set, look at all these beautiful Ultra Cameo coins. Look at the frost on the portrait of every single coin, obverse and reverse. This is the modern era, folks. They're beautiful coins, but you don't have rarity because they all look like this, essentially. On the other hand, here's a 1971, only 7 years earlier. This is your typical 1971 set. You don't see cameo coins. You see a little cameo on the nickel, a little bit. Nice cameo on the nickel, but then when you turn it over, the reverse of the nickel is barely frosted, really not frosted at all, too light to get a cameo designation, so it's not even a cameo. And this is the typical quality of proof coins struck in the early 70s and the early 60s and 50s. You go to, here's a set from 1964. There are no cameos in here. And in fact, when you zoom in, you see the half has a lot of spots, milk spots on the coin. So just to get a proof coin in proof 69 in these early years is an achievement. To get in an ultra cameo, that's a miracle, basically. Here's the first chart I want to show you, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I've taken some later date proof coins graded by NGC, and you can see how many have been certified by NGC on this table. You look at the 2025S Clad Kennedy. They haven't graded any in Cameo. Every one that's been submitted has graded Ultra Cameo. They haven't graded any in 6.6, any in 6.7, any in 6.8, 218 in 6.9, and almost 2,670. Perfect 70 Ultra Cameo. But that's the quality today with advanced technology. A 2025 Silver Eagle, 3,600 in 6.9 Ultra Cameo, 41,070. A 2023 S. Morgan, over 3,000 in 6.9, over 72,070. The Peace Dollar, over 70,000 in 70. The 2024 Flowing Hair, High Relief Gold Dollar, low mintage coin. Still, about 4,000 coins graded in proof 70. This is the modern era, okay? This is the quality you should expect. But now let's look back in time. Here's a chart I put together. The total number of coins graded in Ultra Cameo from proof 60 to proof 69. This is not proof 69 Ultra Cameo, because again, there are no 70s in this early era, folks. 69 is the ultimate grade. That is the holy grail. 6.9 Ultra Cameo. But you take all the coins in all those grades. You look at the 1950. Only 30 Franklins graded in all grades of Ultra Cameo. Jefferson Nickels, only 9 coins. You go on down the list and you see some coins where not a single example has been graded. The 1952 Roosevelt Dime, not a single Roosevelt Dime has been graded in Ultra Cameo, any grade. The high point from those early years is the 1962 Franklin, about 1,500 coins in all grades of Ultra Cameo. And then when you get into the late 60s, as we go down the table, you do see the 68S, 69S, 70S, you do see more of those when they transferred to the San Francisco Mint. They put a little more work into die preparation, so you saw more Ultra Cameo coins. However, for those smaller denominations that we have today, the minors, the quarters, dimes, nickels, and cents, those numbers are very low for those very same years. For example, a 68S quarter, only 57 graded in all grades of Ultra Cameo. How come only 57 coins? Well, because 1968, quarters were being struck on a clad metal planchet. That was the biggest change. From 1965 on, the quarters and dimes were struck on clad metal planchets. And those clad planchets were very hard, and they wore the dies very quickly. And those acid etch cameo dies or very quickly on those clad planchets. So you see really low numbers for the quarters, almost as low for the dimes. The nickels were also very low because the nickel is a very, very hard metal. And a lot of these Lincoln cents are extremely low. Now, the most important, the Holy Grail page, folks. Let's get to the page where we have the total populations of all these coins in proof 69 Ultra Cameo. You see a lot of zeros and ones and twos. There's a lot of dates here with populations below 10. In fact, I haven't done a count, but I would say there may be more coins with populations 10 or lower than there are above 10 from 1950 through 1972. Now, at the very bottom, I've added the 1978S and the 2008S for reference points to show you how many have been graded in 6, 9, and 70 for those later years as reference points. So you could see how the quality improved in those later years. But it's these early years. If you can get a 6.9 Ultra Cameo, especially in this point in time. My first Cameo book came out in 1992. It's over 30 years in passing. Most of the finest sets from this early era have now been picked through. Most of your 1950 to 1967 SMS coins have been picked through for those Ultra Cameos. And very few are being graded today at this point in time. We're talking about finding a needle in a haystack. And today, I have my finest cameo-proof quarters, dimes, nickels, and cents. I have a handful of each. Folks, I've got a huge inventory of proof coins from 1950 through the early 70s. I probably got, well, I have well over 10,000 proof coins from that era in inventory. But in 6.9 Ultra Cameo, and I'm looking for these coins every single day, and I've been doing that for 40 plus years. In 6.9 Ultra Cameo, 1971 and earlier, I have fewer than 100 coins. And that includes the Franklin and Kennedys, includes the Washington Quarters, the Roosevelt Dimes, the Jefferson Nickels, and Lincoln Cents. So let's start with the first coins that I have. I've got 3 1964 quarters in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. Take a look at one of these. Now, only 118 total have been graded in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. In Signature Series, maybe 10 coins. This coin is only $1,295. On the price guide, it's $1,350. I have 4 of these. We have 4 of these. This is a preferred client special. Only you folks watching are being offered the cherries, the best from my inventory. You're cherry picking my inventory. I could show you thousands and thousands of other proof coins, but I'm showing you my 100 finest right now, today. The couple comps we have, here's one, the 1971, which is a really rare date. It's actually rarer than the 64 because, again, it's struck from a clad planchet. The asking price on this coin is over $2,100 for this. That's a really fair price. They've only graded 21 examples in 6.9 Ultra Cameo, 21 examples. And the other comp I have is the 1972S, 6.9 Ultra Cameo, $699. And I have several of those to offer you today. Call in now. We have some great prices on these, and they're very limited quantities. The next date I have is the 1969S. Only 87 graded in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. This Everest, again, struck on a clad planchet. Very hard to get an Ultra Cameo. These coins are only $595 to our preferred clients. I only have 4 examples. The next coin is the 1970S, even tougher than the 69, only 49 graded in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. I have these coins to our preferred clients, only $995. And finally, the 1971S, I have 2 examples. 2 examples. Folks, this is 2 over the last, 8, 10 years. The total number certified by NGC, again, only 21 certified. I have these available for only $2,095. It's available on the 2-payment option of only $1,047.50. Also, I must add, with the purchase of any of these coins, you get a free copy of my revised 2nd edition of Cameo and Brilliant Proof Coinage. Now, let's go on to the last date, the 72S. You saw the comp, the dealer selling his for $699, a very tough date, only 80 graded so far. I'm able to offer these, I have 4 examples, $195, based on my cost, not on what the market will bear, to our preferred clients. The end of an era. The highest grade ever received in an Ultra Cameo for the 72S. Now let's move on to the Roosevelt Dimes. The 1962, the first on our list. This is a tough coin. I've got 3 examples. The 64 is not as rare as the 62. The 64 Roosevelt in 6.9 Ultra Cameo, only 321 graded. The 62, only 76 coins graded in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. There's a 64. Again, that is probably the most common date, $475 for a 64. There's another one that's only $375 for a 64. The 62s I have, again, this is a much rarer date, only 76 coins graded. I've got 3 examples. There's $795. 795. $795 for the stunning 1962. And now the next date I have are some 64s. And I have 5 of these. 5 1964s. But instead of $399 or $475, folks, I've got these for only $299, only 321 graded. This is spectacular. Look at the cameo contrast on this coin and in proof 69 condition. And then the next coin I have, the 71S. We've got a comp here, the 71S, a rare date. Again, that 71, that was the first year that they were at the San Francisco Mint, at 71S, where the Kennedy, along with the quarter and dime, were struck on clad planchets. They were very rare in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. 71S, only 181 coins graded. You can see this dealer is asking $344. Call in now. I have 14 of these examples. 14 examples. They're not $299 or even $199. It's based on my cost, folks. I'm able to do this for only $129, and you get a cameo proof book if you request it. $129 for a rare 71S Roosevelt in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. Now we go on to the nickels. I only have 2 nickel dates. The 1964 Jefferson. Look at this coin. Look at the contrast on this coin. It's mind-blowing. They don't come like this, folks. Nickels are so rare. Like the 58 I showed you up on stage here. Only 2 58 nickels in 9 Ultra Cameo. 64s, they've only graded 229 in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. I've got 6 examples. They are $395. Again, these are tougher than the Roosevelt Dimes because, again, that hard nickel planchet, very difficult to strike very many coins in Ultra Cameo. Extremely rare, only 229 certified. This is Everest specimen. Well, it's only $395. I have 6 examples. And the last coin I have is a 71S, which is a really tough date as well, only 183 graded in 6.9 Ultra Cameo. You can see this dealer, most of the prices I see for these in 6.9 Ultra Cameo are in the $300 to $500 range. Here's a dealer who wants $499.99 for a 71S 6.9 Ultra Cameo. Look at the 6.9 Ultra Cameos I have for you. I've got 8 examples, folks. I've got 8 examples. How would you like 3 for the price of 1, or almost 4 for the price of 1? Because I've got these coins at only $139. Again, it was based on my cost. Get a good deal on these, I'm passing it on. You're basically getting it at wholesale prices, cutting out all the middlemen here. And finally, we're going to close it out with a 64 Lincoln Cent. 6.9 Ultra Cameo, only 140 graded. Rarer than the Kennedy in 6.9 Ultra, rarer than the Roosevelt Dime, rarer than the Jefferson Nickel. These coins go for a lot of money. There's one for $1,075. There's one for $807. There's one for $925. I have 4 examples. There's $795 for our preferred clients, and you get the Cameo book. Finally, the coin at the top. The only coin that's not a 6.9 Ultra Cameo because, again, none exist. To get this coin in any grade of deep cameo is extremely difficult. In fact, the Washington quarter in deep cameo is rarer than the Franklin half in deep cameo in any grade. There have only been 30 Franklin halves in all grades of Ultra Cameo, only 12 Washington quarters. The highest grade anyone has ever received is a 6.8 deep cameo. This belonged in the EBL3 collection, the #1 finest collection in the PCGS registry for decades, until my dear client Ed passed away many years ago. I'm passing this coin on to the next owner who really appreciates greatness, this ultra rarity. The only one that's sold in auction, again, there have only been 2. That coin sold for over $31,000 a couple years ago. This coin is $27,900. It's available on the 3-payment option of only $9,300. It's got the special gold flake holder for coins from this EBL3 collection. The EBL3 collection, if you look on the PCGS registry, his Proof Franklin set is #1 all-time finest. EBL III, who's an amazing collector. Look at this, 1950. It's just spectacular. I've not tried to upgrade this coin. It was originally graded many decades ago. I haven't done anything with it. From what I can see, the coin is basically perfect. It's got a little bit of gold toning on it. The frost is incredible. It's a spectacular coin. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Get started off on the right foot at these prices. To get 6.9 Ultra Cameos, as I get them, folks, you are cherry picking the finest in my inventory, and I'm giving them to you at a great preferred client price. This is a tremendous opportunity. I have thousands and thousands of proof coins in my inventory. To get a 6.9 Ultra Cameo, I have fewer than 100 in my entire inventory that were graded pre-1972. You're seeing a sizable number of those today. I hope you enjoy watching this presentation. This is something where, think about it, you're getting coins that have the ultimate in eye appeal, quality, and tremendous condition rarity at this affordable price. Tremendous future upside potential. Most of these coins have now been certified. Dealers have been picking through proof sets now for decades, looking for these finest cameos. They've been picked through. There's very few that haven't been graded at this point in time. This is the perfect time to begin building that ultimate Holy Grail set. Thanks for watching.